noticed that wasn't on. To all interested inhabitants of the town of Sutton, in accordance with the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 11, the Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing at the Sutton Town Hall on July 11th, 2019, at 7 p.m. on the petition of Alicia and Chris Garvin. The petitioners request a special permit, Section 7A2, as it pertains to 1C3C of the town's zoning bylaws for the construction of a deck on the pre-existing non-conforming lot. The property that is the subject of this petition is located at 107 West Millbury Road, as shown on Assessors Map number 15, parcel number 127. The property is located in the R1 Residential Zoning District. A copy of the petition may be inspected during normal office hours in the town clerk's office, located in the town hall. Any person interested or wishing to be heard on this variance petition should appear at the time and place designated. Daniel Petrelli, Board of Appeals Clerk. Welcome. If you could just state your name for the record and tell us a little bit about your petition.
My name's Alicia Garvin. I'm currently living at 38 Southwick Road in Sutton with my parents as we build this house on 107 West Millbury Road. So the house is built at this point. So we have the structure. We're just looking to add the deck to this structure. Just to give you a little bit of history, when we purchased this property, I did a lot of research, talking to a lot of different people in the town, making a lot of phone calls, and speaking to the seller because he knew some of the history of the property. We were told that it was a conforming lot because of the West Millbury intersection with Pine Point, because it actually has the frontage on all sides there. So we assumed that that's what it was, and we went by that assumption with everything that we were doing. Right as construction was started, we were alerted that it's actually considered, Pine Point Drive is actually considered a right-of-way, more like a driveway that was like kind of grandfathered in. So that's why we wanted to petition to allow to have this deck on, because I guess we were over the footprint that would be allowed for the current structure, so we're adding what's called an otherwise conforming structure on a non-conforming lot. We've looked at the prior footprint. It would be within the prior footprint of the prior cottage that was there. It would fit all the setbacks because we did actually move the house back, the current house that we're building back. And I think I measured it to be about 20 feet more than the original deck from the edge of the water, so we're actually even further back. We don't believe it would be detrimental to the neighborhood because it's consistent with everything else in that neighborhood. In fact, we have a rather big property. It's 2.67 acres. There's a lot of properties on Ramshorn Road that are on much smaller parcels where they fit decks and garages and things like that. So we feel like we're not trying to do anything that's detrimental to the property or the community or the neighborhood. We just want to put a deck on the back of the house.
All right. John, would you like to?
Yeah, the only material deficiency is the frontage. The house itself conforms, the way it sits right, as it sits today on the lot. They're right up to the 30%. And they had to forego the deck on the back or not be able to construct the house. And just the way it fell, they were in the it would put the project way off, and they opted to go with it. Honestly, I don't have any issue with it at all. It's a very large lot. If you went in there, you probably would think that you'd look at it and go, "What's non-conforming about the lot?" Unless you pull the plot plan out and you realize I think it's got 175 feet of frontage.
On West.
On West Millbury Road, but that's the only deficiency. It meets all the setbacks. Even, I mean, it would even meet the regularity factor, all these other things. So.
All right. Do you have any questions from the board?
Alicia, do you know the distance from the water line to the closest corner of your deck?
So, correct me if I'm wrong, the setback from the water is,
That's what I'm wondering.
yeah, so it's, I know it's 20 feet back from what the original deck was. the big plans still to look at. Sorry, you have the actual one that would show it better than this one would.
This is 6 feet, this is probably 30.
Yeah, this is over 50. I have a plot plan with the setbacks dotted on it, and the
Cause
deck.
that was what we originally submitted, was with the deck, so.
The,
All right, okay.
it's over 50 feet.
What's the status of construction right now? Are we all built?
So, we've got, approved, let's see, we just, last week got approved electrical, insulation has gone in, I think, the board, sheetrock boards were delivered today, and they're gonna be sheetrock, so like that's, if that gives you a sense.
All right. Is there anyone here this evening who would like to speak for or against this petition? See none?
So on the plan, where you look at it, the actual deck is the darker of the outlines, the new
Yes.
deck, and the
The
other
old
lines
one
show
is-
the boundaries of the
Yes,
old decks.
yeah.
How far over how far over non-conforming is it, did you say?
Well, the house itself is right up to the 30%. You take the existing footprint and you're allowed to go up to 30% of the existing house, so that is where that structure, where it is, so that,
The deck
I
just
mean,
kicks
the
it
deck,
over.
I don't know, what is it, 12 by 24 or something like that?
Tell you, yeah. I think it's about that. I think it's a little bit smaller than that, but I could.
So it's not,
Yeah, it's really not a lot of square footage at all over it.
It's kind of a rare lakefront case, you know? To actually have a lot of land this time.
Yeah, like I say, when you look at it, the only deficiency is the frontage. Everything else, it meets it. I mean, it's a beautiful lot. It's not like some of the other, 50 by 100 lots that we had up the street.
Yeah. Rich, anything else? Taking a lot of notes over there tonight.
Nothing else, sir.
What does the board feel about a site visit? Feel as though we need to see this, or people comfortable with it?
I mean, I'm good with it.
I'm fine. I know John's been there, so. I didn't have a chance to drive by today, but would have,
Mm.
so. I'm not gonna hold it up because I was busy. John's been there, so.
Yeah, I drove by, you can't even see the house from the road. I mean, it's really well tucked into
Sure is.
the lot.
Kinda jealous about the house.
All right, are there any other questions from the board? Entertain a motion then to close the hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the hearing.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We need a
Opposed?
second, too.
Second it, yeah.
Lynn will get on some of it. Okay.
All right, we'll do a work session this evening, and you can either stick around, or Lynn will give you a call tomorrow.
That's fine.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'll call you tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night. To all interested inhabitants of the town of Sutton, In accordance with the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 11, the Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing at the Sutton Town Hall on July 11th, 2019, at 7:05 PM on the petition of the Manchog Trust, George Funari, trustee. The petitioner requests a special permit, Section 7A2, as it pertains to Section 3A4, Table 1, A2 of the town zoning bylaws, to permit a multifamily dwelling use in the village district. The subject property of this petition is located at 352 Manchog Road, as shown on Assessors Map number 49, parcel numbers 42 and 125. The property is located in the V Village zoning district. A copy of the petition may be inspected during normal office hours in the town clerk's office located in the town hall. Any person interested or wishing to be heard on this variance petition should appear at the time and place designated. Daniel Petrelli, Board of Appeals Clerk. Welcome, gentlemen. If you could just state
Thank
your
you.
names for the record.
My name is Thomas Lesser, and I'm an attorney from Northampton, Massachusetts, and I represent the applicant.
My name's Dan Hazen. I'm the engineer from Gary and Helmont.
All right. Tell us a little bit about your request this evening.
We're before the board requesting a special permit, as you indicated, to allow an existing building at 352 Monshog to include 3 apartments. That's more than 2 apartments, a special permit is required. The existing building, I'm not sure if all of you are familiar with it, originally was a school, perhaps 80 years ago. Most recently was an American Legion Hall, and there's going to be no alteration to the existing footprint of the building whatsoever. It is in a neighborhood where there are a large number of multifamily homes. And with our application, we submitted a map, and as you can see, there is a multifamily home directly abutting. At the end of the driveway, there are 2 multifamily homes, and there are 7 others in close proximity to the project. So it's in accordance with the neighborhood. It's in keeping with the character of the neighborhood. It will be an asset to the neighborhood, and Mr. Hazen is here to go through the plans with you.
The existing site has approximately 1.6 acres. Currently, there's a paved driveway leading up to the building. At that point, it turns into a gravel parking lot around the building. Right now, runoff from the site just flows overland, it goes down, there's a very steep slope in the back, goes down here towards the wetland off-site. Off to the side, it goes down towards the Mumford River. What our proposal is to continue the paving around the building. It's gonna be a one-way flow traffic around. We're actually gonna be shrinking up the disturbed area to accommodate, or to help with the riverfront area. So the gravel area that's in this portion and off to the side here, that's gonna be it's gonna be loam seeded and allowed to revegetate back to natural. Right now, previously with the gravel, there was no lines for parking. We now have 31 parking spaces for the cafe and 6 parking spaces for the proposed apartments. Stormwater will be treated in the new parking area, or not new, but in the paved parking area, flows to a double catch basin, which goes to a stormwater treatment unit, into subsurface chambers. We did soil tests out there. We found very gravelly soil and very deep to groundwater. So, and then any overflow from these chambers will flow out over a level spreader and down in the direction that it has always historically gone. We're showing a decrease in both volume and flow rates in the post-development as opposed to the pre-development.
A notice of intent has been submitted to the Conservation Commission. Hearings have been held, and we're before the planning board on the site plan on Monday night.
Excellent.
Tell us a little bit about the cafe.
About half the building will be a cafe or restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
That's allowed by right, so we're not here requesting anything from you at this
Yep.
point in time. And hopefully that will be a great asset to the town.
Can you talk a little bit about I'm looking at the note here about the portion of access that's not owned by the owner of the property?
Sure. The driveway has been in place for probably 70 years. We have a Google map, which is more than 20 years ago, showing the existing driveway. We were planning to bring that up with the planning board. We have case law indicating that in fact, in that sort of situation, where there is adverse possession, as a matter of law, since the existing driveway has been there more than 20 years, it's been open, it's been notorious, it's been peaceable, no one has ever suggested that they own any portion of that driveway.
What is the process to take it?
I'm sorry?
What is the process to go through that?
To go through what?
Adverse possession.
Adverse
Adverse possession.
Oh, if you, we think it's allowed as a matter of right. We think the burden is on someone else to come and suggest that it's their property. But there is a particular case which indicates that that's an issue which is not to be brought up by private individuals, where it's been existing. But eventually, we probably will go through a petition to quiet title, and that's a lengthy process that could take over a year. And so we want to, it's unnecessary for purposes of the special permit, so we wanted to move this forward at this point in time.
So the issue with that discrepancy is like the lot lines and then the driveway kind of mismatch at some point, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a very small portion
Yeah.
of the driveway. No, it's you know, on your assessor's card, and the assessors have it as owners unknown, and they've had it as owners unknown for 50 years.
Yeah.
So to involve publishing in the newspaper, anyone who claims an interest in that would have to come into court and show why they have an interest in that small portion. And we would say, it doesn't matter whether you have an interest in that small portion, but we've been using it for over 20 years, so it's a matter of law. We own it by adverse possession.
Yeah.
The worst case scenario, you do have a little bit of frontage if you had to squeak it over, if something, let's say there's new case law as it happens in Massachusetts, you could always shift the driveway, you have enough room for a different, you know, to do the entranceway. But my question is, this is to the engineer,
Yeah.
is this part of the First Street, Second Street subdivision, the First, Second, Third Street, is that what this right-of-way is here on the, or this, where it says owners unknown, is that? Cause there's a, on the, it's not on this plan of record, but I've seen a plan of record where there's actually, it comes down to the,
First Street comes down and intersects just before that.
okay,
corner
so it's
of-
on,
It actually intersects with Manchog Road, it doesn't intersect with the, this parcel here.
alright, so this is just,
Second Street just comes in and dead ends at the property line.
okay. So this has nothing to do with that original subdivision of land?
I don't know off the top of my head, I mean, that's something with the surveyors that,
Okay.
you know, I don't.
All right. I think it's a really nice project, and I commend George for stepping up and taking a really crappy piece of project property and fixing it. So I think it's a good thing.
I think we all know what a disaster it was in terms of asbestos and otherwise.
Yeah.
Has in your conversations with the planning board as it relates to the issue with the potential issue with the driveway, have they expressed, have they expressed their needs in order to get through the process, or?
Well, we're gonna be meeting with them on Monday, and as I said, I'm gonna be presenting a legal memorandum to them that I think quite clearly shows that it's not an issue that would in any way prevent them from issuing the site plan, approving the site plan review.
So as it currently stands right now, if I understand, that piece of property in question exists as a parcel, but there's no recorded owner.
Nobody has any idea who the potential owners are. Nobody can find it in the records, title searches have been done. Nobody can find any evidence.
But it's it has boundaries.
It
and
is
it's
defined by the assessors
Yeah, okay.
as owners unknown.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It is interesting. Looks like there's almost no frontage.
Oh, yeah, it's,
So you're asking, and just to be clear, you're saying we can issue a special permit even though there is the potential that someone could come and question the title to that piece of property unknown.
Which is a small portion of the driveway. Like it said, we could move the driveway if necessary. We just wanted to keep things as they were. We thought that was most beneficial and most appropriate. But you absolutely can.
How wide is it on the property? How wide is that portion that's owned by
24
Mr.
feet.
Fenari?
24 feet.
How much?
Yeah, 24
feet.
Oh, the portion here, yeah, that's 24 feet at the frontage, and then it widens out.
Of course, that lot's been pre-existing, non-conforming for 70 years. Predates all zoning.
so the apartment rooms, is there gonna be, are the walls already there? I don't know what the inside of this building currently looks like. Are we adding
No.
walls, or are they already?
We would be adding
Yeah.
walls.
This is
We'd be-
previously like a big open function hall for the American Legion.
There were some rooms, there were rooms in there, I've been in there, I'm stretching my memory, but there are
Sure.
definitely rooms
Yeah.
on both floors, actually, and the basement was broken in half.
Yeah.
And the tenant parking is separate from the restaurant parking, like there's not gonna be, there's enough parking, I guess, is fine.
Right, there's 6 spaces along here for the tenants,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the portion of the building that would be the apartments. This parking here would all be for the restaurant and cafe.
Is the fire department commented at all? Are they comfortable with the access to this?
They did comment, they requested a Knox box, and they were questioning the flow, if it was gonna be one-way or two-way. On the latest revision, I added, arrows.
So they're
and,
they're
a couple
comfortable with it?
signs. So
With
far,
auto
yeah.
turn and all that?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as radiuses for turning, yeah, it meets all the requirements.
Do you mind if I ask you a question?
Go right ahead.
No, and I know you're calling it a cafe, restaurant, and there is residential that's gonna be abutting it, and I know it's still early. Is it gonna be an all-night type thing? I know hours of operation, is this something where bands are gonna be playing till like midnight?
There's certainly
things
no
like that?
intention of that at the present time. If we had to do it, we'd have to come back for an entertainment license from the Board of Selectmen, who would take into consideration noise, parking, and all those things.
Again about parking, so the flow of traffic is gonna be counterclockwise, so even for cafe residents, they'd sort of have to drive around the apartment to get to the cafe, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Questions, Rich?
Not yet, still thinking.
Is there anyone here this evening who'd like to speak for or against this petition? All right.
So the special permit application is for the apartments on a commercial building?
Yeah, in the village zoning
Because it's over
district,
two.
restaurant doesn't require a special permit. with
Right,
apartments.
apartments.
Yeah, 'cause you're only speaking to just the
Just
Yep.
the apartments.
use, and you feel it's good, and
I think there's a requirement that the minimum square footage needs to be like 780 feet, and they're greater than the minimum square footage.
How many bedrooms will you have in each? Two. Okay.
How do you guys feel about a site visit?
I drove by there, but I think it would be good to,
Okay.
to kind of see it close and personally.
Yep.
as far as like the use, I think it's a pretty good use here, but I also wanna make you aware, the building will be fully suppressed with a sprinkler system, so, you know, when you're doing the site visit, keep that in mind as far as any kind of burden on the fire department or anything in the future. The building's suppressed, so it won't have to burn.
All right.
Those last words.
Unless a plane hits it, or they shut the sprinkler off.
Let's get it hot.
All right,
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I'd like
Yeah.
to see the,
I'd like to see it as well. I think the
two
project
streets
looks
and
good.
the proximity.
Yep,
It's done a nice job on the outside, looks nice.
really.
Yeah, it does. It's a
Good.
nice building.
What's everybody's schedule look like? I'm not around Saturday.
I need to do it during the week.
Yeah, you wanna grab one night during the week, or you guys wanna go on your own, or it'd be nice to try to go as a group if we
I
can?
think so. Monday night, Monday evening?
Can we do Tuesday? Going on twice? Tuesday, Thursday?
I think I could do Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
What time's everybody thinking? Times everybody need to get there?
Yeah,
Seven's
so
good with me?
7 o'clock?
7 good for you? What's Tuesday's date? What's the name?
That's the 60.
So Tuesday, 16, 7 PM. Does that work with everyone else? I don't, no one has to go, but if you'd like to meet, we'll be there Tuesday at 7 PM for a site visit. Any other questions?
No, I think, not until I see it. I don't really have any other questions right now.
All right.
No, I mean, there's a lot going on in this site, but as far as just judging a few apartments, I think I've got what I need for that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right, I'll entertain a motion then to continue the hearing.
August 1st, 7:05.
August 1st, 7:05.
I'll make a motion to continue.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, I will not be there.
Oh, So
I will
disappointed.
be on the Cape. Amphibious.
We'll get by without you. We always appreciate your professional opinion.
So this will be just a site visit to look at the site, look at where the parking is gonna be.
Yep.
Just so
look
we
at
have
the
a,
neighborhood,
yep, just a visual, just to be sure.
exterior.
Yep,
Next year, right.
5 or 10 minutes, that's all. But- All right,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Do we have some minutes, Lynn?
Let's open that.
Yes, I do.
The little brewery. Gonna call it Schoolhouse.
We do indeed. So we have some meeting minutes from June meeting. everyone's looked at the minutes, I'd entertain a motion to approve these minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Is there a second on that?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll entertain a motion to open a work session
Make a
on
motion
Alicia and Chris Garvin.
to open the 352 Manchog Road application.
The
I think we, I
applicants.
think this is the 107 West Millbury Road, right?
Oh, it is, I'm sorry,
Okay.
thank you. 107 West Millbury Road.
Good catch.
Garvin.
The petitioners are seeking a special permit to put the deck on the back of their house, as we just discussed. They are maxed out at the 30%, and they would like to creep over that with a deck.
I'll make a motion to approve that application.
I'll second.
We have any discussion?
Deck.
Pretty cut and
Seems
dry.
very standard.
Yep.
I find a hard time finding something to object to.
No, I think you said
2.6
it
acre
right, that
lot on a
relative
lake
to the
is
neighborhood and
tough
what's
to
all
find.
around it
No.
and how dense the lots are, you know,
Yep.
how much lot coverage there is all over the place. I don't have an issue with it at all.
I think we're used to
I-
making some pretty big concessions for lakefront properties, and this is a tiny one, you know? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we had a motion and a second, or we want to go over our
So I think we should
checklist?
just go through the checklist.
Yep.
Make sure we're all good, so that can be put into the minutes. The appropriateness of the specific site as a location for the use. It's a big lot, it's a small deck. As John noted, it's tucked away in the woods, really can't be seen. I don't even think it can be seen from Pine Point.
And it's not a huge deck by any means.
It's not.
No.
Adequacy of public sewerage and water systems, NA really, right? The effect of the developed use upon the neighborhood, not really any. Whether there will be undue nuisance or serious hazard to vehicles or pedestrians, not on that side of the house, certainly. And whether adequate and appropriate facilities will be provided to ensure proper operation of the proposed use, structure, or condition. It's a deck.
Yeah.
That's right.
Any conditions we want to put?
No, I think
Usual.
they have to build it according to the plan.
Build it
I don't-
according to the plan, according to the building code, that's it.
And you had, you said you had dimensions from the original plans?
From the the setbacks, yes, for the deck or for
The dimensions of the deck. think
yeah, I don't know if they've decreased that, I think they decreased it down from what they originally were gonna do.
Well, it shouldn't be too hard to get, but
Yeah.
So maybe Dan, just reference the plan
Yep.
and the drawing, the elevation.
I think I've only got, let's see. So far, I just put this one on here. Oh, this one. So I referenced this plan. I didn't put a title yet for this though. This is just. Subsurface sewage disposal system.
So which plan did you reference? Just that one? Do
Yeah. Should I put another one here?
you want
Is
to
there a
reference
good
that
architectural
architectural?
one?
Yeah, this is
Okay. Good too.
Let's add that one.
E&L Designs, 11/12/18, sheet A4.
D&L Designs?
E, Echo and Lima.
A title in there? I don't know.
New single-family residence for Alicia and Chris Garvin.
Okay. Do I have that one?
It's in here somewhere.
Alright.
Sorry, somewhere.
Sorry.
No problem.
actually, why don't you give them your copy? because
Oh, yes,
they don't
no
need it.
longer need it.
Yeah.
There you go. So we had a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes get it. Entertain a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. See you in August.
Mr. Chairman.
Down the Cape again? You've gotta start coming every week, every month.
Haskins is the
Why,
one
I
that
don't, I
started
knew he was gonna say that.